Al Jazeera podcasts.
The women of Bucha, they are the same citizens of Ukraine as all other people living in this country. A woman is a full-fledged person. We also want to help our country.
In the battle for Ukraine's skies, an unlikely force has emerged. The Witches of Bucha, a volunteer air defense unit made up of suburban mothers and ordinary women. Liudmyla Lysenko is one of those volunteers, and her job is anything but ordinary. The unit's name originates from a badge worn by one of its members depicting a witch wielding weapons. But the Witches of Bucha are trained to do one thing: shoot down Russian drones. Operating around the clock, these women form an extra shield over Ukraine, often using unconventional but effective weapons to intercept enemy drones. So, I want to know how these women became the defenders of the Ukrainian skies. I'm Samantha Johnson, and this is Now You Know. We're dedicated to amplifying women's voices, stories, and topics we're all thinking and talking about. This is a safe space where we go all in, so by the end of each episode, you can say, "Now I know." For some, serving for the Witches of Bucha provides an outlet to channel their rage against the ongoing war. For others, it's a nerve-wracking responsibility requiring constant focus. Wherever they stand, all members are resolute in their determination to safeguard their homes and families from Russian attacks. Liudmyla is one of those women and is here to share her experience on Now You Know, and she'll be speaking with us through an interpreter. So, Liudmyla, thank you so much for joining us on Now You Know.
I'm happy to see you.
Okay, so tell us about yourself and what your life was like before you joined the Witches of Bucha.
Я музикант, закінчила консерваторію.
I'm a musician. I graduated from the conservatory. I have a high degree in music. I didn't work as much as I would have liked as a musician because I was busy raising my children, who were still small at the time and are now a little older. But still, I continue to devote most of my time to their upbringing development. For the past 5 or 6 years, I've been doing confectionery, baking cakes, making all kinds of delicious desserts. The years before the war seemed to me to be quite carefree compared to how our life has changed since February 24th. Honestly, I never expected that this could happen in the 21st century.
Таке може відбуватися.
I was just wondering if you could take us back to the moment when Russia invaded in 2022.
Те, що ми побачили,
What we saw, it can be described in one word: terrible. But it still doesn't reveal the fullness of those feelings and emotions that we all experienced. These are horrible explosions, tears, and misunderstanding. What for? What for? What is our fault? Why did these people attack us in the middle of the night? Why do they shoot, kill, abuse people, rape women, men? This is a horrible torture that all the people who lived here in Bucha, who did not manage to get out of the city or the outskirts of the city, experienced. They were through a very horrible time. Of course, the occupation by a terrible, incredibly cruel enemy affected the psyche of people, their feelings and perception of the world. Everyone who was here and saw what was happening wanted to somehow join either the army or the people who help our military. Everyone began to think about how I could help my country in such a difficult moment. And the women of Bucha, they are the same citizens of Ukraine as all other people living in this country. A woman is a full-fledged person. We also want to help our country. Yes, we have small children who really need us, and we cannot leave them without our support. That's why we were very happy to see the creation of such volunteer formation where we can contribute to our country in some way. At the moment, these are mobile fire crews that shut down Shaheds, Iranian drones, conduct reconnaissance, monitor the airspace, and interact with other crews that do the same. And this is our help to our country. Every night, our state and airspace are invaded by a huge number of Shaheds, all kinds of unmanned aerial vehicles. And they carry a huge enormous destructive force that can fall on a completely innocent people. And each of us is making a huge effort to ensure that our people can sleep and rest peacefully, including our children.
Могли спати і відпочивати спокійно, і наші діти в тому числі.
I know it can't be easy because you're living in it right now. I would like to go back to a point that you said, something that you mentioned earlier about the massacre in Bucha.
Так, звичайно, такий день неможливо забути.
Yes, of course. It's impossible to forget that day because we woke up to unbelievable explosions that made the house shake. We heard screams. It was something terrible, and we all realized that it was war. These were my words that I woke up my children with at 3:30 a.m. on that day. I told my children, get ready, the war has begun. Then we just waited, perhaps for a very long time, for some information about what was happening to understand what our actions would be, whether we were staying or whether we were leaving, packing up. Then we heard when bombers, fighter jets, Su-bombers and others began to bomb Hostomel airport, which is very close to where we live, and started to bombard it. It was very scary. I will say that from the sound of the hypersonic aircraft, I got so scared that I hid under the table. It might sound ridiculous at this point, but I was incredibly scared. Then we realized that we had to do something, pack up and run away. We waited some more time and started packing. We heard explosions, machine gun fire, incoming shelling, and we started to try to escape from that place. We were waiting for what would happen next. Helicopters that were flying overhead were shooting at civilians, ordinary people, but we managed to flee. We left on the evening on the 24th. I know this from the stories of my colleagues who are already working in the unit, who were in Bucha and who told me how many of their neighbors were tortured and killed. The fact that they saw them hiding in basements, in cellars, hiding men, just to keep them from being taken away. Because I still know people who were captured during the occupation and have been in captivity for almost 3 years. They're civilians, they had nothing to do with the army, but they were captured and their families still can't wait for them to return and contact them somehow. For 3 years, you have not known where your husband is. So I heard this from stories and eyewitnesses who were around until March 10th in the city. They tried to somehow help those people who were defending the city from enemy attacks, who saw the destruction of buildings, and who simply found corpses in the street that could not have just appeared out of the sky.
I can't imagine what it's like for you and your family living through this war. I'd like to know more about you in the unit and being in the Witches of Bucha. What does this unit, the Witches of Bucha, mean to you?
Я приєдналася до цього підрозділу.
I joined the unit in the first days of autumn last year, although I had planned to do so at the beginning of summer. But at some point I was wondering if I could do it, if I could combine family and work. I joined and met wonderful women who want to work, who have an incredible desire to learn, who have an incredible desire to work, train, improve their physical fitness, their skills and ability to handle weapons. No one invites us here to cook borscht or make a pie. We're just here to work with weapons that kill. Women working in this unit, they are incredible. They are united by one common idea, that they want to help their country. This is what brought us to this division in the first place. We love our country. Our country is in our hearts. We want to preserve it. We are training. In the summer, I did not join the unit because I was learning to use weapons. I went to courses, to all kinds of camps where I was constantly improving my skills, my handling of weapons, and my physical fitness. I wanted to come prepared.
Свою фізичну форму. Я хотіла прийти підготовленою.
So, how do you all train? You just said that you're using weapons, serious weapons to shoot down drones, to kill.
У нас кожної суботи проходять навчання, де ми всі збираємося.
Every Saturday we have training where we all get together. We have many, many women. We each take our own assault rifle, where we are trained in shooting, in continuous shooting, working in twos, threes, storming trenches. There are various exercises, obstacles, shooting. We have training on a simulator where we learn shooting on a Browning simulator, where we learn to shoot the shaheds because they have their own specifics. Every hunter knows that you need to understand what kind of advance you need to have to hit the target exactly, because shaheds come fast and you need to understand what is the trajectory of its movement and what kind of advance you need to have to get the bullets to reach and hit, because we shoot from quite a distance. It's not always 100 meters away that you can see the target clearly. Therefore, all this requires training, strength, and responsibility from us because it is all dangerous. And because you start firing, you have to understand where you can fire, what actions you have to take. You have to check the area to make sure that no one is riding a bike, harvesting crops, or just walking around. You have to explore the whole area before you start firing. And we are practicing. Honestly, I'm very happy that there are so many like-minded people, like-minded women, and we are all united by one idea.
Жінок, однодумців, і всі ми об'єднані однією ідеєю.
Can you give me a picture of the type of women that are in the unit?
Жінки у нас, починаючи від 18
Our women range in age from 18 to 60. These are also women who work in beauty salons, manicure masters, hairstylists. They are managers, realtors, clerks, and teachers. In other words, these are the most ordinary professions that you can encounter every day in any place you go. Women who work in a store, who work in an office and wear beautiful jackets and skirts, are very neat and wear heels, and then they come and get into a car in uniform and take their weapons and go to work a shift and shoot shaheds. So this is who we are.
В наряді, по шахедах. Такі ми.
This is really full on. I'm fascinated to know how you live both lives and how you compartmentalize, being a mother, wife, musician. I know you bake cakes and sell them as well, to fighting in the field. But also, I'd like to know what it's like when you're out there in the field and you have to shoot down a drone.
Той момент, коли шахед
At the moment when the shahed is approaching our firing position, I really wanted to get to a range where we can start firing. I really want to do this. I try to make every effort I can to make sure that my team is as ready and as focused as possible, because it's often late at night or early in the morning, 3 or 4 a.m., and people are just tired, and I try to encourage them, give them some strength, joke around, and make them focus on their work as much as possible. What helps me to combine? Perhaps my family, who support me and are proud of what I do.
І пишається тим, чим я займаюся.
So you are the commander of, let's say, a unit of 3 women. I'd love to know how you motivate your crew, or how you keep morale up. What do you tell the other women when they're going through their darkest moments, or when they're just, like you said, they're tired?
Коли ми вночі, зараз в Україні дуже холодно, дуже великі морози.
It's very cold in Ukraine right now. It's freezing. I try to take a chocolate bar with me and take a hot tea, treat everyone to something tasty, making a joke somehow, said they should be patient. It will come to us anyway, this drone, and we will succeed. We are all united by the desire to be useful to our country. It's not hard, in fact, to be useful to your country and to be loyal. We have a growing generation that motivates us a lot. We all have children. I have a son who is 16 years old, and I really want him to live in a free country and rebuild it after the war, but not to fight.
Але не воював.
You tell each other jokes to keep morale up. Can you just tell us a couple of them? Like, what do you tell the other members in your crew?
Можливо, це про якісь там літаючі бляшанки.
Maybe it's about some flying cans. Let's make it! Let's shoot it! Often these jokes have obscene language. About flying crows. I don't know, it's all very spontaneous, in the moment. I guess it's something like that. We just usually joke around all day when we are on our duty. And it's hard for me to honestly repeat any of these jokes because it does have to be at some specific moment. But usually we have fun with each other and are happy to be on duty with each other.
Нам весело один з одним, і ми раді перебувати один з одним на чергуванні.
I want to move this forward a little bit more. How do you envision your life after the war is over?
Складно, чесно кажучи, сказати.
It's hard to say honestly. At some point, I forgot how to dream and to look so far into the future. I see myself only as a Ukrainian living in Ukraine, not somewhere in Europe, America, or any other country, even Antarctica. Only Ukraine is my land. I see myself working on this land and want to do my best to make my country prosperous and beautiful. I see myself only here.
Я бачу себе тільки тут.
Liudmyla, I appreciate you and your energy. Thank you so much for talking to us on Now You Know. Thank you.
Дякую за увагу до нашої країни.
Thank you for your attention to our country. Thank you.
Дякую.
So now you know how the Witches of Bucha have become a crucial part of Ukraine's resistance and the guardians of the skies, defying gender norms and proving that defense knows no gender. A huge thank you to Liudmyla Lysenko for joining me today, and a special thanks to you for watching and listening to Now You Know.